how I described what being depressed was like. Imagine if you walked around with a 50-pound anvil on the top of your head. You went all day with it. It made everything you do that much more difficult. Everything, thinking was difficult. Talking was almost impossible. You felt horrible physically because you're just worn out from carrying this around. And you went to bed knowing it was going to be there when you woke up in the morning. The carnivore lifestyle liberated me from all.
You look so bright and you don't look troubled at all. And it's just like I'm looking at a miracle.
People need to learn you're not broken. Mom and dad didn't make a mistake. We were all taught to eat things we should never have put into our mouth the first time.
Yeah.
And the human body is an amazing thing. If you nourish it properly, the natural state of that human being is always one of happiness. I got into the carnivore lifestyle because I suffered from chronic mental illness, severe depression, major depression with psychotic features. I suffered from chronic anxiety and chronic insomnia for 43 years of my life. I've learned so much about how destructive sugar is for me and my physiology. There is no taste, there is no texture, there is no social setting worth me putting my sanity at risk.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
I was without sanity for 43 flipping years of my life. It is my most precious earthly possession.
It's miraculous, and I'm amazed at how you can watch your body heal. And no matter how long you've been on the wrong path, the moment you stop feeding sugar, carbs, and all the bad things, your body says, thank you. And then it gets back on track. And that's the miracle of our Creator. The miracle of our body is that it is literally never too late. You just have to believe that your body can heal.
Brett, you were asking Pumi about her name.
Yeah, I was curious where she was located, and she's not living in Florida, I expect.
I wish. I live in the UK, but I'm originally from Zimbabwe.
Ah, interesting. Very cool. Very cool.
So
yeah,
how long you live in the UK?
Only 5 years.
Okay. Before you were in Zimbabwe or you've been somewhere else?
No, before I was in South Africa. Paradise.
What? Paradise.
You would definitely like the weather better here in Florida than what
I know. I'm sure.
Why we are here? So I'm trying. That's me. I'm trying to get information from people around. So we have one thing in common for sure. That's the carnivore diet. So I want to start from this point and have a little bit of introduction from you too, not too long, about when you start the carnivore diet and then why you start the carnivore diet. We start from Brett because it's in the middle. And
I got into the carnivore lifestyle because I suffered from chronic mental illness, severe depression, major depression with psychotic features. I suffered from chronic anxiety and chronic insomnia for 43 years of my life. In 1961, I was born.
Okay.
And then starting at the age of 15, I began experiencing depression symptoms that followed me for the next 43 years of my life. And I had the good fortune of, I was on like 7 different psych meds at the time. I weighed almost 300 pounds.
Oh my God.
My quality of life was garbage. And to be honest, January of 2015, I didn't honestly think I'd live out the year. But a musician friend of mine recommended to me that I look into medical marijuana. I have to tell you this part before I get to the carnivore part, because without this part...
No, I go. Of course. I need to make sense. You know the story better than everyone.
And, you know, I'm a musician. I'd been around people using cannabis for years and years, but it wasn't something I was interested in because when I was a teenager, I had a bad experience with it. used too much, got too high, got lightheaded, got sick, passed out. I'm like, and plus then it wasn't legal. So I'm like, beer's legal, it's cheaper. I don't need that. Anyway, I had taken my meds as prescribed for psych meds for 23 years. I followed my doctor's directions. I did everything I was asked to do because I did not want to be mentally ill.
It didn't work.
I just got worse. So my wife and I were like, well, what can it hurt to try marijuana, and what have you got to lose?
Mm-hmm.
And so we secured 4 grams of flour, and my wife found a can of butter recipe on the internet. And she made these little quarter-sized cookies. And I was scared to death of these things because of my past bad experience. I broke one in half and ate it. And after about 10 minutes, I felt like 1,000 suns had lifted off of me. I wasn't high yet. But for that moment, I didn't feel like crap for the first time in more years than I can remember. And then about 45 minutes later, the high kicked in. And what I learned, much to my surprise, it still astounds me. Cannabis treated my symptoms better than all of those psych meds I was given over that 23-year period.
So why you decided to eat it then smoke it?
Because it becomes, when you ingest cannabis, the THC converts to a more potent psychoactive version of THC.
Okay.
So you get even more medicinal benefits if THC works as a medicine for you. It doesn't for everybody. For me, it works very well medicinally. So It improved. My anxiety almost completely vanished. My mood was immensely elevated. I greeted my wife at the door when she got home from work that day with a big smile on my face, and she's looking at me like, what's wrong?
And this, you're still not carnivore. You are still not a carnivore.
This is all before carnivore. I had to get this going before I could.
Just to make sure. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And the reason why this is so important is because over the next 3 years, using medical marijuana and basic exercise, walking long distances, I walked out, put it this way, January of 2015, I weigh 289 pounds and I'm on 7 different meds. I started using medical marijuana in February. At the end of at the end of 2015, I was able to come completely off the antipsychotics and the antidepressants. Walking and using medical marijuana, and I started low carb as I understood it, which was terrible. And at the end of 2016, I was off the Ativan that I took for 8.5 years for anxiety. And at the end of 2017, I was off the trazodone that they gave me. Trazodone's an SSRI, but they were giving it to me because it can be used off label to help people with chronic insomnia. I couldn't sleep without it, but I woke up with a drug hangover every morning after using it. It was terrible. So,
and then you were sleeping with eating marijuana, basically cookies.
Yeah, exactly. And anyway, I walked off 100 pounds in 3 years, got off all the meds, was only doing low carb medical marijuana. And then I'm watching, I'd gotten introduced to this man named Dr. Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
And I came across a clip of him on Joe Rogan where he's talking about how his daughter Michaela figured out if she only ate beef, salt, and water, her chronic horrible arthritis symptoms vanished. And she also suffered from severe chronic depression. In fact, she was the youngest Canadian at that time to ever be given SSRIs at the age of 10.
Mamma mia, poverina.
So anyway, if it's anybody but Jordan Peterson saying this is possible, I would have changed the channel, because you all know just eating meat, that's crazy. But because it's Jordan Peterson, the man who's part of what he talks about is be honest.
For me, yeah, I know. For me, it was also him, but was not enough. At the end, there was so many people telling this thing, and then there was also Jordan Peterson. Okay, I need to try.
Well, for me, without Jordan Peterson, if it had been anybody else, if I'd have seen Sean Baker or someone else, I would have just
not enough.
No, that's nuts. I wouldn't have. But I got the information from the right people in the right order. And July 16th of 2018 was my first day of only eating meat and only drinking water.
Wow.
And
so you went straight to the carnivore diet?
Yeah.
Directly.
Yeah. But you gotta understand, I'd been really low carb for 2 years before I started.
Yeah.
I didn't have a heavy duty transition time.
Yeah, I did with a little transition.
And I was highly motivated to succeed. So, July 16th was day one, and today is my 2445th consecutive day of only eating meat and only drinking water. Zero cheat days. Zero.
Wow. That's what I also wanted to ask you. You are like zero cheat days, but for some reasons, or it's just your way? I mean, you think it's the best way, or it's the best way for you, or you suggest it to everybody like this?
Well, I've learned so much about how destructive sugar is for me and my physiology.
Okay.
There is no taste. There is no texture. There is no social setting worth me putting my sanity at risk.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
I was without sanity for 43 flipping years of my life. It is my most precious earthly possession.
Yeah.
I will never put anything knowingly into my mouth that could jeopardize that.
Your story is, I wish the whole world could hear it, because you know personally, and I know how much your mental health is your everything. So
Yes.
for 43 years to come out of that and be sane like you are, and the age that you are, and you look so bright and so light, spiritually light. You don't look troubled at all. And it's just like I'm looking at a miracle. So thank you for sharing your story. And it's going to give so much hope to so many people. And I'm so impressed and happy for you.
Thank you, Puma. I appreciate that very much. That's why I do interviews and talks like this, is because people have been taught, all sorts of things that just aren't so. And people need to learn. You're not broken. Mom and dad didn't make a mistake. We were all taught to eat things we should never have put into our mouth the first time.
Yeah.
And the human body is an amazing thing. If you nourish it properly and hydrate it properly, give it enough rest, and somebody cares about you and the environment permits it, the natural state of that human being is always one of happiness.
Yeah.
That's why I describe, before I got into spirituality, I was already talking for years about feeling effortless daily happiness, because I woke up smiling.
Yeah.
There are no bad days. And then after I got into spirituality, every time I think things can get better, I'm proven wrong.
I agree. It's sometimes I don't feel like I'm on the same planet after awakening. And I don't think I am, because I'm on another dimension. I'm just here physically. I relate to that a lot. But regarding carnivore, for me, it's only been 3 months. So I think I'm the baby of us all. I'm 34 right now, and I'm really thankful to God that I found it so early in my life, because I've had so many health issues as young as I am. I have always struggled with blood sugar. I've always been the person who's dizzy after 2 hours of eating. I could never figure it out. I've tried every diet that there is. And in the first week of Carnivore, I was so stable and I didn't get shaky and dizzy. And I can't believe what fatty meat does. The biggest health issue I've had in my life is my painful periods. Since I had my first one, when I was 10 years old. I was the first girl. Yeah, I was the first girl in my grade to get it. It was so embarrassing because
I imagine it's scary, I bet, no?
Yeah. Obviously, the first time I saw it was scary, and unfortunately, I had not been prepared by my mother or my school for that. So I did think I was dying, and it was painful from the first one, and it's actually still painful, but
Getting better.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Slowly getting better. I've had severe endometriosis symptoms, severe PCOS symptoms over the years, severe estrogen dominant symptoms, which all causes a lot of pain. And I would say my condition is chronic, and unfortunately, women's health is not taken seriously. So whenever I talk about this, whether it's with my friends or my family, no one really understands. The only person who understands is my husband, because he sees the true effect of it. But from what I've experienced on Carnivore so far, sorry if it's TMI for both of you. I know you are men, but I know you have ladies. And
I've been married for
I have a daughter.
40
so
years of my life.
I thought about this. No, she's 8 now, but you start to think about these things also, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Don't worry.
I know you have daughter Dario, but Brett.
I raised a stepdaughter. I've been married for forever. I understand. Believe me. And as a husband who's having a wonderful second marriage after a horrible first marriage, I'm a firm believer in safety first. So, I know what not to say and when not to say it.
Okay.
Yeah. At the end, the message is not for us, it's for the people that will see the podcast.
So what I can say in the 3 months regarding my cycle, which I am also documenting every month, the changes, I've noticed not only less pain, but less bad mood before it starts. I've noticed even regarding ovulation, I can actually see my body ovulating, which is amazing for someone who's always struggled with their fertility. Yeah, so it's miraculous, and I'm amazed at how you can watch your body heal. And no matter how long you've been on the wrong path, the moment you stop feeding sugar, carbs, and all the bad things, your body says, thank you. And then it gets back on track. And that's the miracle of our Creator. The miracle of our body is that it is literally never too late. You just have to believe that your body can heal, because also your mind has to know that you can heal. You can't do it without the belief that you can. So I'm excited to have painless periods very soon. I know it's going to happen. And I also know that I'll have my dream children soon. So if anyone is struggling with fertility, try this, even though you feel you've tried everything, because before finding this diet, I thought I had tried everything. But there's so many women who are in the same boat as I, and they had their dream babies, not even one, multiple children, after so long of waiting for their one child. People have had so many children and restored their health, their fertility, their vibrancy, everything just gets renewed. So
we are here.
I want to encourage you.
Go.
I've been doing this for it'll be 7 years in July that I've been carnivore, and I've seen dozens of women go through what you're going through right now. And all I want to tell you is you've barely scratched the surface of the goodness that's still coming for you.
Yeah.
So it's
And you're
really
rejuvenating.
important that you make this a lifetime commitment, because your children, I know this from knowing many other carnivore mothers, their kids have an advantage over their peers in the education systems.
Yeah.
Because they don't get sick. They're always more attentive. They're thinking clearly because their mind's not clouded up with sugar.
They're gonna be the next leader with against the machine in the next war in the future.
That's right. And Dr. Ken Berry, I got to interview him a few years ago, and he told me something. He said, Brett, people like you and I scare authority because we're capable of thinking for ourselves. We can strategize. We can look and see what's going on, and we can recognize the possible paths that things can take.
Yeah, pattern recognized. How to say in English? I don't know. We see the pattern in things. We see the things a little bit from above, from a disconnected point of view. Also, I stop watching news.
We're able to use our intuition and recognize what it means. I was using my intuition long before I got into spirituality, just because I recognized when I was young, if I did something I knew I wasn't supposed to do, my gut went crazy. Oh,
but
gosh.
we just didn't listen.
And now,
but we felt it even before.
Yeah, I decided, like 2 years into Carnivore, I'm not going to make any decisions again without running it through my intuition. And if my gut doesn't get disrupted when I ask myself, should I do this? Should I leave this band and join this band? Should we move? Whatever it is, I've never been misled.
Yeah, for me to work backward, I understood now that every time I didn't feel my guts, it went bad, and then when I did, even against the odds, even it was like the stupid thing to do, it was the right thing to do. Can you just make a little bit introduction of when you had this awakening, you want to call it like this? I don't know, because for me it's very new, this situation. And I get overwhelmed by information, because how I am about the carnivore diet. I research. I did also this thing about the spirituality, and then after I want to share my story on how this happened. But now I don't know who to believe, because I got too many informations. Anyway, Brett, can you tell us what happened, when happened to you?
Well, mine's a pretty crazy story, because it just happened to me.
I don't think there is a normal story.
In 2023, prior to that, I was raised Protestant, and then I practiced hedonism for about 10 years, and that didn't work out so good, and it never does. And then one bad marriage, and then met my second wife, and that was the first really good decision I made while I was mentally ill. And we've been together 28 years, married for 27. Wow. And we converted to Catholicism in the early 2000s, and we were really sincere about it. But then early 2023, we come across this documentary on Netflix called Ancient Apocalypse that's narrated by this guy named Graham Hancock. And it showed all these ancient sites that humans had built, or somebody had built. And it just made me really curious. And I started doing research, and I started finding out things like, well, maybe humans have been here a lot longer than what we were told. And then I'm like finding out all these other things, and I start having these questions that Catholicism can't answer. Like, how come there's a flood story thousands of years, documented
Before the
thousands of
Bible.
years by the Sumerians in their tablets before the biblical account was written? How do you make that work? And then I always had this one question that Catholicism never could answer. In Genesis, it talks about the Cain and Abel story. You know, there was Adam and Eve, and they had their two offspring was Cain and Abel. And okay, that's 4 whole people on planet Earth. Well, Cain gets jealous of Abel and kills him. So that leaves 3 people on Earth. God, supposedly, to punish Cain, kicks him out of the garden. What's the first thing Cain does when he's kicked out of the garden? He takes a wife. Where the hell did she come from? Huh? Where did she enter? How it didn't make sense. And then you would be told, and I'm not trying to crap on Catholicism. A lot of people.
No, it's logic, just, common sense.
But you're told, it's a mystery. You'll never understand it. Just have
the
faith.
Holy Spirit has to.
And I'm like, I need more than that. And so my wife and I stopped going to mass. We agreed together, we can't do that anymore. We'd be living a lie if we went back. And after a couple of weeks of not going to mass, I'm like, we had a Gaia subscription. We're watching all this stuff and learning all sorts of things. But we needed a community. And so I went and did this search thinking, okay, I live in a city of 1.2 million people. Surely there's some kind of metaphysical something around. And this one name kept popping up. And every time I'd see it, I think, well, that's just too crazy. And it was called the Cosmic Church of Truth.
So why you went looking for metaphysical and not for, I don't know, archaeological information, historical or other way to? Because for me, I went historic. I went translator from the because I went also in this rabbit hole exactly like you. And I went looking for the real translation from the real original first Bibles and stuff like that. I didn't go spiritual. So why you choose to go spiritual, looking for answer?
Because I felt like I later learned my guidance was at work, unbeknownst to me at the time. I was being pushed towards metaphysical church because that's where I was going to learn things, and it'll make more sense in a minute or in a few minutes. I get to anyway. Sure. So ultimately, the only place that looked decent on the internet was this Cosmic Church of Truth, because they were the only place that actually talked about open door for all who are interested in all forms of spirituality and metaphysical discussions. Okay. Now, my wife is not an extrovert like I am. She's a very introverted person. She's not somebody who likes meeting new people. She doesn't like to go into places where there might be a crowd. We get to this place, and I'm 2 steps inside the door, and some woman is hugging me after shouting out, "Look, new energy!" And she gives me this hug, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then another lady comes up and says, welcome, welcome to the Cosmic Church of Truth. And my wife and I kind of looked at each other. We both agreed later that it was
weird.
We'd found our family. We found our.
No, you didn't feel creep out or weird out.
No. If everything felt like this is where you're supposed to be.
You felt it. Yeah, I got it.
And so we go a couple of Sundays, and we discover they have every Friday night they have this class called Spiritual Mind Gathering. And basically what it is, it's a circle class where people learn how to calm themselves and listen with their spiritual gifts, and they can develop their spiritual gifts in that class, etc. So I go into this, my wife and I both jump into it, And I'm like, okay, I don't know anything. I got to be patient. I didn't see, hear, or feel anything in those classes for 6 weeks, but my wife did. My wife's very clairvoyant. I didn't know that at the time. She's a graphic artist, so that she visualizes things doesn't surprise me. But she was seeing stuff all the time. What am I not doing that I need to do? And the word meditation crossed my mind. And then I did some research. Okay, most of people don't get to experience their spiritual gifts or grow them unless they meditate regularly. All right. Because I'd always thought meditation was kind of crazy on the surface. And later, of course, I realized how dead wrong I was. Now today, I can't imagine a day of not meditating. So I started with YouTube, 5-minute guided meditations, and then, just gradually increased over. And then I finally got to where I could meditate by myself without guidance.
But it took time for you.
It took about it. Well, I started the middle of June, and by the first week of August, that same
every day.
year, yes, every day, and I got to where I could meditate twice a day too. And so the August 4th of 2023 is a Friday, and at that class, I made the decision, I'm going to treat this like a meditation. And it was the second smartest move I ever made in my life, because the class is going on. I'm in this meditative state. I can still hear what's going on. And suddenly, in the right side of my mind's eye, guys, there's this golden ball of energy. And I instinctively knew, that's me. That's my energy.
Oh my gosh.
How cool is this? Finally, I'm seeing something. Awesome. And then a few moments after that, this blue ball of energy appears on the left side of my mind's eye, right next to my ball. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not me. I knew it wasn't me. And I'm like, what's going on? Now, one of the things the teacher had always told us, if you see something, feel something, or hear something that freaks you out or that you don't understand, bring it to the group. So I'm like, I got to bring this to the group. These balls of energy, I don't know what this means. And all the teacher said was, don't worry about it. It happens to people sometimes who eventually get into channeling. Now, because of the Gaia subscription, I had already seen channelers, but I had never in a million years thought, yeah, that's what I want to do. Because who doesn't want to talk through a guy who suffers from mental illness for decades, who plays guitar for a living? Yeah, he'll be a great mouthpiece. It just didn't make sense to me.
Did you believe in channeling at the time? Did you believe
I believed it was real. I believed it was real, but I think, was it something I wanted to do or ever thought about doing? Absolutely not.
Okay.
5 minutes after this with the teacher, a young man, very talented young man, comes to me and says, Brett, and he's serious as a heart attack. Brett, on your left is an extraterrestrial with sapphire colored eyes. And if you're willing, they will connect with you.
Oh, wow.
But you have to say yes.
Okay.
I thought my gut was going to jump out in the floor and start screaming at me. Say yes, do it, do it, do it. And so I said yes. And I was instantly connected with a 10,000-year-old light energy being of Arcturian descent. Her name is Orna, O-R-N-A. She is female energy. And she's on a mission from Source. She actually contracted with me in spirit before I incarnated this time that we agreed that I would channel her at some point in my life.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. So you don't do it yet?
Oh, I do channel. Yes. In fact, I've channeled a book.
Uh-huh.
That's available on Amazon. It's called The Words of Orna.
Okay, then after send me the link and everything.
I will. Gladly. But anyway, Orna's part of her, she's on a mission from Source.
What kind of book is that?
It's a book about what humans need to do in order to assist the planet in ascending to the 5th dimension, and what humans need to do to create healthier bodies and stronger families, to create healthier communities, etc.
Book of wisdom.
It's from her perspective. Yes, she is extraordinarily wise, and
like you reminded. I'm new in this thing, so I don't know much. But this guy Bashar.
Bashar?
You know?
No,
Bashar.
Bashar is a different being, a different race of beings altogether.
No, but I mean it's the kind of the same thing, right?
It is. It's very much the same
experience.
thing. It's
okay.
just a difference in perspective and a difference in species, I would say.
Okay. Not bad.
Her family left the Arcturian system many thousands of years ago in search of knowledge, and encountered other life forms that shared their knowledge with them, and they were able to ascend to. Orna is a 10th dimensional being, and I was hit by a car when I was 11 years old. And suffered very, very minor brain damage that could not be detected by the technology available in the early 1970s. And Orna uses that little unhealed space to connect with me telepathically.
Wow. That is crazy. Not crazy, but like
there's many stories of people that have an accident and then amazing thing happened. They start to play piano, they start to sing or channel or other kind of special abilities. As I was saying, let me recap. So if I understood, you were already you were interested in spiritual things. You start to meditate, and then you had your awakening.
Mm-hmm.
Like your awakening, the symptoms other than this channeling, what were? Like a physical scene. Did you went through some pain? I don't know, emotions. What happened?
Well, what happened was almost instantly, Orna started downloading information into my head, things that she knew I needed to be able to do. She wanted me to become a fully developed medium. Now, you got to understand.
Pleasure when this thing happened?
Oh, it was wonderful.
It was wonderful, right?
It was wonderful. There's not been a negative moment about it. It's been nothing but joy from beginning to now. Getting to channel her is always like the greatest thing ever. She began teaching me I got the world's craziest, fastest crash course in mediumship. And I explain it this way. That was the night that she connected with me, was August 4th of 2023. This church, the Cosmic Church of Truth, the second Saturday of every month, they have a fundraiser where they offer readings and Reiki healing at a really super low rate. Okay. It takes most people many years of practice and study to become able to do those sorts of things. For the November 2023 Psychic Fair, I was doing readings.
Wow.
And I did 7 readings that very first day.
A gift, basically.
And I knew, and it was such a joyful experience. I've come to learn that being in service to others is like the greatest feeling there is. And I knew then I was going to end up having to step away from music for a time so that I could fully develop this.
Yeah, because we didn't tell that you are a professional musician. You were working as a musician.
Yes, I was. In fact, that very first day that I did those readings, I had a gig that night. And that was an experience after trying to process that, and then I'm on stage performing, still got a room full of people. You got the job to do, but in my mind, I'm thinking about what I just experienced that day. It was a very surreal kind.
I bet it was surreal. I bet, like in a movie. So you think this gift make you even better player? No, like player, like playboy, like player.
I don't really, I've learned that I channel source energy when I play, but I was always channeling source energy when I performed. I was just unaware I was doing it.
Unaware. That's what I think also, yes.
And I've learned since, especially since I started posting the morning blues again. One lady she said, I get healing from this.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I tell you all the time.
And I'm like, well, great. Now you told me that. That means I can never stop doing it.
No, I cannot.
But yeah, there's not been any negative. I've channeled Orna before on a number of podcasts. We've done several interviews. I've channeled her before the congregation at Cosmic Church of Truth. August 25th of 2024 was the big reveal. That was when we announced the book and everything. It was fascinating, and it's just been really positive. And Orna told me, she told me, she said, now, if you want to keep doing music, you can. You might not live quite as long because the musician thing's a little harder on the physiology than just doing the metaphysical work. And so I took a year off from performing. I didn't even touch my guitar for almost a whole year.
Oh my God.
And just at the first of this year, I decided to start playing again. And I'm already back. I'm already a little bit better than I was before I stepped away the last time. So, and Orna's like very supportive. She's like, we've got this part done, because nobody gets on Gaia TV unless they got a book. That's why the book had to be done. And I didn't write a word. The only thing I wrote in this, there was a lady who helped us who no longer works with us. She she's got a preface, and because what we would do is we would get together on Wednesdays, and okay, as Wednesday would approach, I'd be like, all right, Orna, what are you wanting to talk about? And she would, okay, let's talk about proper human nutrition. What she channeled for the book was, she acknowledged, what Brett does is really extreme. Most people don't need to do that, but you need to not eat processed carbs, and you need to stay away from sugar and the things that we all know are very inflammatory.
Yeah.
Anyway, that stuff like that's what's in here. My favorite chapter is what she talks about the importance of family. Yeah. Because humans have been manipulated into thinking families aren't important. And that's so that we can be more easily controlled and manipulated. Strong families create strong communities. Strong communities create strong states.
They make us grow up with the myth of leaving home when you are 18 and go live by yourself, blah, blah, blah. But, everybody has living separate, different houses. We should go back to when we live in compounds where your brother was the house in front of you with his wife, and the children live together. You can leave them with the grandmother, grandfather, and go do other things. No, for me, it would be better to go back to the villages, go hunting, and not even go work. Just get the food and take care of the animals, and that's it.
Well, there was a time on planet Earth when humans didn't require a government to get along.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Pumi, let's go with you. So, talking about the spiritual awakening, it was before or after the carnivore diet? Do you think the carnivore diet is related to this awakening, or there is any connection between the awakening and the carnivore diet?
I had my spiritual awakening in 2016.
So before.
Like most people, my awakening was triggered by suffering and pain. So it's a long story. But
No,
I'll
but tell what you feel comfortable to tell. You don't have to tell the long story. Or
I have no problem telling the story. I actually have another YouTube channel where you'll find my entire awakening story and my trauma story. So in summary, a lot of people awaken because of narcissistic abuse. I don't know if you guys can relate, but for me, my narcissistic abuse is not because of a abusive partner or anything like that. It's unfortunately my mother. So since I was a child, she made it very clear that she does not like me, does not consider me. And as you know, with narcissism, the older they get, the worse the treatment gets. So the more I am happy in my life, which I am very much, the angrier she gets, the worse her behavior gets, the more I suffer for that. So in 2016, I got engaged. And if you know about narcissistic abuse, weddings, funerals, any huge life
to make a
event
show
is when they are very activated and they'll do whatever they can to ruin your special occasion. So,
of course.
Yeah, so that was, I knew that she would ruin it, but I didn't know she would ruin it to the extent that she did. And eventually I had to go no contact, although that didn't happen immediately. That only happened about 2 years ago.
So boundaries.
You love your parent no matter how badly they treat you. You want them in your life. You give them 1,000 chances. But at some point, you have to stop letting people mistreat you, and you have to make a stand. And, I am also a being that needs to be loved and respected. And if I allow someone to treat me like that, it means I have no self-respect. I have no self-love. What is my purpose? I can't just let someone attack me forever, right? So I had to learn how to set boundaries. And in my culture, that is the most disrespectful and evil thing that you could ever do. Nobody supports me, not one family member. Actually, this week I
support you.
Thank you. My soul family does support me, of course, like you guys. But yeah, it's been very difficult. And to hear you talking about how family is important, it is. I agree. But when you have a family member like that, what can you do? What you can do is to make your own family and to build your own community, which is now what I am forced to do.
What you can do is doing boundaries like you did, I think. But I think the important for forgiveness is it's the base of everything. So I don't know what's your situation, but
Of course,
we cannot stay angry,
No, and I'm not angry at all. I just know that in this lifetime, this is the path that she and I have chosen for whatever reason. I mean, I'm on my own spiritual path, and this is part of it. And it's very difficult. But if you go onto my other channel, you will see there are a lot of people going through the same thing. And they've also had to learn how to deeply accept and love themselves, which is what I guess those of us who go through this, that's the ultimate lesson that we have to learn. Because I was a super people pleaser, pushover. I put everybody else before me. My health suffered. And that's why I said I've had so many health issues. It's because I did not put boundaries before. She would do this and that to me, and it would physically affect me. It manifested in so many things that I can't even tell you because we'll be here forever.
So when you establish these boundaries, you had the awakening?
No, I had the awakening because I could not believe that God had given me a mother who hates me so much, because I'd been a very dedicated Christian for a very long time. And I just did not understand why Jesus I just couldn't believe that God had let this happen to me. And that's what awakened me. The same way you didn't understand the Bible is the same way I didn't understand why my loving Heavenly Father had given me a mother that I'm having to deal with in this way. And that's what made me come out of religion I don't even know how to explain the awakening, but it was deep pain that the person I'm supposed to be loved by, the person who I'm supposed to be able to call when I need them, and also the fact that people say that this is what a mother is supposed to be, but my reality was not reflecting that. It was just very difficult to deal with, especially as a girl child, because if you don't have a mother, what do you actually have, you know? I also have a book.
You also have a book, right? You wrote a book?
It's actually a journal for people who have gone through the same thing and people who need to take their power back. So it's called No Contact. Remember your why. And I don't know if this will be backwards on the screen, but my other YouTube channel is Holistically Me. It's a blank book so that you can write down, you know, what happened and why you've had to make the decisions you've made, and just to take your power back, because we all need to, whether we're taking it back from the government or taking it back from pharmaceuticals, from negative energy, whatever it is, you have to take your power back. That's the only way to thrive in this dimension and this world. We are all spiritual beings, and I have a saying that all abuse is spiritual abuse because we are all spiritual beings.
That's what I think. When I have to think about we are all spiritual beings, we are all energy. Then sometimes I have like taking a medicine. Why is it necessary, or why this thing is good for me or this thing is bad for me? If everything is energy, if I think this thing is good for me, it will be good because I think it's good or because it's good. No, my mind sometimes explode about these things. So also the carnivore diet is the carnivore diet, or because I believe in the carnivore diet. So these are doubts that I think they will never leave me in peace. Anyway, so I want to ask you something about what about meditation?
So I've tried meditation for myself, but for me, what really helps me spiritually is to work with my body.
Physically.
Yes. So I don't know if you know about somatic experiencing. So that's
Yes.
about getting.
Every day.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that works better for me than closing my eyes and visualizing. So rather, I do somatic body work, and that really helps me to elevate spiritually, to get those negative emotions and feelings out of my fascia and my body, because I'm very sensitive. I can't even drink coffee. When I used to drink alcohol, one sip and I would be tipsy. I'm very physically sensitive. So even if I walk into a room and there's negative energy, I'm going to feel it. So that's why I say somatic.
And you always like this. You always charged. Let's say always. What about grounding? Do you do grounding?
I do, yeah. But I find that breath work and yoga, for example, or like trauma releasing exercises, TRE, that's my thing. So the way Brett is doing meditation, you will find me moving my body. Even if I'm having like a very tense day, I do this shaking, and that helps.
I think everyone find his own way. No, I do this kind of thing that is kind of yoga, but I need to keep my muscle in tension. So it's, I don't know. I think it's something from martial art. No, when you like you do Chinese something. I don't know. It's like for me, it's like natural. When I do yoga in the morning, then I have to move in this way with the muscle. So it's like an exercise. But then after, when I do this, I feel like warm and so much charged. So I don't know. I don't follow something because I really don't know where to get. But I try to get information from everywhere, and then what I feel right, almost natural. My body does it almost by itself. So
I have one more thing to mention.
go.
As I said, I was a very dedicated Christian. I was actually part of a cult. So it was very intense.
Which
And
one?
I don't want to mention it.
Sorry.
What I wanted to say is when I was at the cult, they always used to encourage us to speak in tongues. And every time they had that ceremony, nothing would happen for me. I would never be able to do it, and everyone around me would be able to do it. And then one day, it was a random day. It wasn't one of those speak in tongues days, but I was like in a service, and I started speaking like a light language, which does not, and it doesn't sound anything like tongues. And I was like, what is happening? But on that day, I really felt like, okay, I am connected to God, whatever. That was like a real breakthrough for me. Everything changed that day. That was the day I think I became firm in spirituality. I didn't understand anything, but
that was the proof, let's say like that.
Yeah, exactly.
The final thing you needed. What do you mean for speaking in tongues?
So in the Christian church, people like speak this sound that they say is speaking in tongues, and they believe that they are
Gibberish.
I also believe it's gibberish, and I think a lot of Christians are faking it because they all sound the same, and then it's just weird. I don't know if you've ever been in a Christian
something
church.
doesn't make sense. Okay.
Whereas light language is always specific to the individual, because light language is channeled from outside us through us.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's it. So luckily you don't know what it is.
This thing that you said that happened that time, it happened again. I mean, it's something that you do regularly now. It's like connection.
It happens all the time when I'm very like aligned. And another TMI, sometimes it would happen after sex in particular. And you know, sex is like a very spiritual event.
Depends, yeah. It can be. Can be also degrading, but yes.
Yes, well, with the right person and the right time and the right way and the right energy.
Yes.
Especially if they're carnivore.
They are.
That's really made a difference to me and my wife. The carnivore lifestyle, we're in our 60s. We're having more fun than we did when we were in our 20s and 30s.
I'm sure.
By many orders of magnitude.
I bet. I know. For me, it's the same. From after the awakening, it's so much better. Even swimming is like everything is like you feel everything. You feel more. You feel so much. That is so much better. Everything you do is better. Even like cooking is better. I wanted to tell you what happened to me, because you both were already religious people in a way or another. You got you didn't believe in what they tell you in the church. You went your way. You had your speaking tongue situation awakening. Me, I was trying to fix my salivary glands, because after this diet, it's already 3 years that I'm doing. I fixed so many issue that is boring even to mention them, but it's the classical story: lose weight, pre-diabetes, high blood pressure, blah, 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 blah. At the end, I was good. The only problem that I still had is my salivary gland. It's problem that I have from when I think I'm around 20 years old. I had some autoimmune issue for my eye. I had the surgery for the cataract because I had this thing called uveitis that is an autoimmune thing. I had also an autoimmune in my foot when I was 12. I cannot run because my heels will be in pain. And I don't know, it was something strange. So another autoimmune, because nobody can tell me what was. Anyway, this problem that I kept all my life, there was some calcification inside the salivary gland. The doctor said that no need to remove, no need surgery, maybe they will come out. Anyway, these salivary glands were still big, but not so much in pain for years and years. Sometimes I had pain, I had to take some anti-inflammatory, then manage the pain. And I managed the pain for years and years. But that was the last of my problem, because I was fat, I was full of pain. I was, that I even forget. So when I lost all my symptoms of everything, I said the only thing I still have, this thing still annoys me. Last year, around July, I started to swallow again. And become painful. It started to bother me. So everything was good except this thing. I start to research on what I can do. I went to check again with a machine with like when the girl is pregnant and they check the belly. Now I don't know. They did this thing here, and they say, it's not so much you can do. We don't know why it's painful because they look normal. So okay, they look normal. So next step will be like do some kind of search if it's a cancer or stuff like that. I say no. I will not even want to know. I will treat it like it's best I can do. The same mentality I had for the carnivore diet, I will apply for this. So I start to research. I use also ChatGPT to help me to understand what would be a combination of supplements I can take. And then basically the main ingredient would be this one. It is iodine. And iodine, yes. So, Bhumi, before you were talking about also your situation, the hormonal and stuff, I think also this, you take it?
I do. Now that I'm carnivore. Yeah,
now that you're carnivore. I'm taking this. It's start around December last year. Start to take this. I start to supplement something. I eat not so much. So when I was not eating, I was taking B12 methylated because I have the THFR gene mutation. And because in Netherlands there's not much sun, I start to take this D3 and K2. That also they move the calcium from the soft tissue, they put it in the blood, and then from the blood they go in the bones. So it's all a line of things that make sense to decalcify the soft tissue, to detoxify the soft tissue, especially the glands. My objective was the salivary glands, but doing this after a couple of weeks, I start to feel strange, some symptoms, pressure in my forehead, thinking about strange things. I start to write a book about like an historical romance, historical fiction. So as I start to think about music, I start to hear the music different. I say, what's going on? I don't understand. It's like all the feeling. I start to think about past situations. That is why I'm thinking about these things. And like in my head, forgive, forget, let it go, all these kind of things. And then I start to look what's happening to me. And then I heard about this third eye, the chakra, Kundalini awakening. I say, what's that? Because I could not understand. So I understand that I need to meditate. So I try to meditate. And the first time I tried to meditate, I was went in the space, like I don't know, taking the shuttle, and I found myself in the nothingness, and I see things. I see the ball, like your ball that you saw in this void, but was black and white. It was changing shape. It became like a doe, like an angel shape, like a doe, like a bird, no? And there was communication, like not words, but sensation and clear yes and no. Clear. If I say ask something, it was yes, it was clear. It was no, it was clear. It was no. So it was all like the pressure, this energy pressure in my head. So for me was this. So now why I'm telling this? Not because I want to say, hey, yeah, I'm awake, but do this thing that I did because I don't come from a religious point of view. I was not interested. And then if I see myself talking about these things in November, I will say Dario went crazy. What's wrong with you? What is talking about? Now I collect stones. I feel the energy when I touch the tree. I feel the people when I'm not all the time. And I'm happy because now you say you all the time. For me, not all the time. But if I'm charged, if I did meditation, if I touch stones or did some kind of grounding, I feel I'm expanded. So I feel the feelings of people. If somebody's behind me is on rush, I feel him. Like it's sometimes it's a little bit annoying. Anyway, so people are interested in this metaphysical thing. People are interested in awakenings, and they try, and nothing happened. Maybe for a long time, and for me, happened like so fast. So I was thinking maybe there is a way to help these people. There is a procedure, there is a protocol that we can develop with the iodine and the selenium and vitamin D3 and this kind of thing. Maybe I will put it in the description with what I'm taking, not what is right to do. I am just telling what I'm taking is my experience, and then everybody do this. But no, what's your opinion? It can be dependent on this, because asking the ChatGPT, I just put the ingredients and I say what this will do to a human body, and she said many things, and one of these things decalcify pineal gland, blah 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 blah. So it went through all. So for what I understood, this is the gland that keep us connected to this energy, or I'm wrong, I don't know, the third eye. I have no culture on these things, and I almost like don't want to know too much. I want to be surprised. But no, I want to know your opinion on this protocol of supplements. What do you think?
I think it's specific to the individual whether or not supplements are helpful or not. It's because there's no doubt we're all three carnivores, but we all do carnivore specifically in a way that's good for our physiology because we're unique. Every one of us is a unique being. Our
Yes.
bodies are very unique. The nutrition that I consume daily might harm Fumi and vice versa. And you might thrive off of both of us, eating like both of us do. You never know. It's always specific to the individual. Spirituality, the awakenings are always specific to the individual. It's not there are no one size fits all in health.
Okay, I agree
or
100%. But what about class of individual, group, people that are like-minded, that see the only way to access to spirituality for me was through science, through stuff like that, have to be like a forced awakening, because nobody will ever convince me with words. I think maybe people that are like me, that are totally out of this situation, can be force awakened chemically. I don't know how to because I was not looking for illumination. You know what I mean? I was looking to fix my throat.
Well, so you're saying the supplements decalcify your pineal gland and you woke up?
Yes.
It is possible, because everyone's awakening can happen anytime, in any way. You never know how it's going to happen.
So I think I will never edit without this supplement. That's what I think.
Yeah,
I will still feel the things and doubt and don't think it's a real sensation. And because the thing I'm feeling now, I was feeling them before. I just didn't recognize.
Well, what's something I've discovered, and you might find this helpful, Dario, is I've been doing carnivore coaching for years.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing would happen that happens when I do psychic readings.
Yeah.
I end up, I didn't know it at the time, but I was really giving readings while I was doing the coaching thing. I just was unaware. My head would fill up with energy, which at that time, you were
in the zone, like connected.
Yeah, I thought I was just being really observant, and that was the physiological response to me concentrating on what the person was saying. Now I know I was feeling their energy, and I was reading them, because I would come up with conclusions and be right when I had no business being right. And that's when I used to facilitate mental health meetings for a group. It's still in existence, called Rivero Health now.
Give it the right answer, the right opinion.
Anyway, I would get phone calls after these. How did you know to say what you said to so-and-so? Because you were right, and they admitted that you were right, but they didn't give you. How did you figure that out?
This thing is in everything, you know.
I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just was paying attention. I now know I have claircognizance. Sometimes I just
higher self telling you. Yes.
I just know things I have no business knowing.
Yes, I understand
but it
that.
doesn't negate the reality that I do know.
For me, it happened even in the small things, even how much salt I need to put in the water. I don't know. They ask me how many grams. I don't know. I always said that even before this awake, I say, I use feelings for cooking. So how much? I don't know. Just my hands stop. So that's the perfect quality. And I'm never wrong. So it's proven that it's like that.
You
Anyway.
just have to trust this process. There is no step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay, just enjoy your life. Live day by day.
Yeah, no, just for me, I understand that there is some kind of mission that I need to do. I don't really know what, so I'm just looking around. What are my passion, my things? This thing that happened to me, I want to share it. Maybe somebody's interested. Maybe some doctor can put it together and give it a sense, more like from a scientific point of view, or it's just a waste of time. I have no idea. Just I put the information and the message. If it's important, I need to reach the right people. It will.
I would just say, Dario, be patient. Sometimes the universe brings things to us only when we're ready to receive them. Yeah. So don't feel like you have to have all the answers right now. And ultimately, all the answers are already within you.
Confirmation.
So that's why, one of the few things that I agree from the biblical text was when Yeshua says the kingdom of God is within you.
Yeah.
It's exactly. I'm right there with you. That's the one thing I really agree with completely from the Bible, and because it is. And for me, I get to experience that in meditation and in my daily life because of my mediumship training. And you learn how to control your thoughts so that you don't catch yourself. For years while I was sick, I was in a negative thought loop that I couldn't escape.
No, you only see the day of your death. For me, I thought I will never get more than 55 years old.
But you can eliminate that. And I think that's why for some people, it starts the spiritual awakening happens because of extreme sadness or frustration.
Frustration for me was a lot.
Or, for me, I had to get well first physically before I could experience my spiritual gifts.
Yeah, it's different for everyone.
Exactly. It's very different. But I've really enjoyed this.
But there's more and more people that are awake. At least what my feeling is, before I didn't know anything about this, and now everywhere around me I see people, I meet people that are awakened. So maybe something is happening.
And Pumi, I really hope after this, if you're on Instagram especially, that we can connect, because I got a feeling there's some future conversations between you and I that are going to be really wonderful to have.
I agree. I'll definitely be on your case for some more and to connect with both you and Orna.
I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I believe you.
One day you will, Dario. You'll understand it all one day, and that's not that far off. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen.
Well, just one thing. I remember you told me when you had before you had your awakening, you had your mental issue, stuff like that. But can this mental issue, symptoms, depression, can be confused? I mean, maybe it was the awakening that was trying to awake you, but you confuse these symptoms, and then you start to take medicine, and then you make things worse.
Well, taking the medicine definitely made things worse. I'll agree with that. But you have to understand, I was oblivious to the concept of spirituality for the majority of my life, and definitely the whole time I was suffering from mental illness. you know, the thought of me being able to, because when you're depressed, let me describe, this is how I describe what being depressed was like. Imagine if you walked around with a 50-pound anvil on the top of your head, and you went all day with it. It made everything you do that much more difficult. Everything, thinking was difficult. Talking was almost impossible. You felt horrible physically because you're just worn out from carrying this around. And you went to bed knowing it was going to be there when you woke up in the morning.
Yeah, that's
what
nightmare.
depression was like for me. And so the carnivore lifestyle liberated me from all of that. And that liberation, that physiological liberation, opened up my physical being. My chakras could finally work again. My hormones were in balance. I was a naturally functioning human again. So it made sense later to me why, while I'm doing the coaching thing, I'm actually giving readings unknowingly.
Yeah, because you were open.
I was open and I was well.
And you were well.
One thing I've learned, when we are kind to ourselves, the universe rewards us.
Yeah.
Always.
I'm just worried for people that maybe they might go through this awakening and misunderstand the symptoms and start to go to the psychologist or start to take pills or stuff like that. Because if the symptoms were not so clear for me, if I didn't meditate and see the things with my own eyes and feel the energy, I will have thought I'm going crazy. So then next step, psychologist, pills or stuff like that. So how many people we lose along the way because of this?
Some. We do lose some. I know a young man right now who's on medicine for schizophrenia, not because he's suffering from schizophrenia, but because he's extraordinarily gifted and he's got some developmental issues, and he sees his deceased relatives very clearly.
Wow.
And he's put on medicine for that, which is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
How old is?
I have to be careful because of confidentiality.
No, I mean it's a minor. I mean, that's what I meant. It's a minor or not?
No, it's an adult. It's an adult.
It's so I understand.
Anyway, this individual, there's nothing wrong with this person except they suffered from autism due to a vaccine they received as an infant, unfortunately. Pumi, are you on Instagram?
Yeah. I'm CarnivoreCutie on Instagram. I think I am following you already.
Okay, actually. Well, I will definitely look for you because you and I need to talk. Of course, Dario and I are always talking.
We will absolutely talk.
I need to listen to his solos in the morning. They are healing. Last time I put it on loop and I fall asleep. Oh my God.
The frequency.
He plays guitar. He plays solos guitar. And they are amazing.
CarnivoreCutie 8. Yeah, there you are, Pumi. Found you. Yes, we are following each other.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I didn't know you were next vegan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's another story.
I'm sure it is. Vegans used to mess with me early on, but I'm still rocking the carnivore lifestyle, and they gave up. When I didn't die after the first 5 years, they just gave up.
They give up.
He's a freak. He's never going to die from this. We got to leave him alone.
We still haven't heard of any carnivore dying from the diet.
No.
Well, that's the thing. Ultimately, yeah, we're all going to die. But the quality of our lives.
But at least we lived.
Between now and then, if I die tomorrow, it'll be fine. I will have spent the last almost 7 years experiencing joy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly.
Full life, full of things. No waste time. Yes.
Rich, did you say how old you are?
I'm 63.
You look so good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today's my birthday anyway. I'm
Today's your
46.
birthday.
Yeah, 46.
Oh, congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you, well. Thank
Yes.
you.
I'm jealous of all that hair he's got.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll be thinking about you the next time I'm outside in the rain, not able to see. I don't have hair keeping the water out of my.
Yeah, it's always bad. I'm trying this. We'll see it work. Methylene blue. They say we're gonna make me smarter. We'll see. In
I
the
don't know
meantime,
anything
my pee was blue yesterday.
Oh God. I don't know anything about that thing. I saw you post about it, but I don't know anything about
Yeah,
it.
they were talking about in Joe Rogan, all those big science, all the big heads. They are talking about these things now. New
Yeah,
trend.
I'm tired of the trends. I'm happy with carnivore.
That's how I
Good
am.
approach.
I'm not interested in learning about some new dietary supplemental thing.
Yeah.
Meat and water, it suffices. It
Yeah.
does the job. I have no complaint. I haven't had a headache since July of 2018.
Wow. Wow.
My headaches are energetic. I still have, I told you, I'm still going through this healing thing. The thing that changed in my body because of this diet and this awakening, and my structure of my throat changed, my voice changed a lot. But I'm still going through the healing. I'm not done yet, and for me, it is painful. It is painful, especially.
One of the things I wanted to share with both of you is, because I've been doing this longer, don't stop, because the transformation never really ends.
I know.
There's no ceiling on how good we can physically feel. There really isn't.
That is amazing.
No, I had sometimes, like I remember when I started this diet after the 5 months, I was the first time on the beach with the kids, and I started to run, and I was not running from years, and then I realized I could run, and the leg didn't feel light, and I didn't have a pain in the joints, and then I say, Palu, my daughter, my kids, keep running, because Papa is like, I cannot stop. So I start to, and then after that day, I don't know what happened. I took mushrooms, stuff like that, because all the colors start to vibrate. Everything was vivid, so different. And yeah, it's like everything was opening. And that's part, I think, it's not only the diet, it's the situation, it's everything. The feeling that you're back, your health is coming back, and realizing that you can do something that you could not do it a week before.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Thank you so much. It's been amazing. I think.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna talk. I try to end this thing without deleting it.
Okay,
do
that.
You wanna say goodbye for everybody?
All I'll say at the end is,
you do it.
Everybody take the time and the energy to just be 5% kinder to everyone you interact with. And don't be surprised if it doesn't make for a much more pleasant day.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Thank you very much. It was very, very nice. Take care.
So much.
It's a pleasure meeting you, Pumi. Darren,
Ciao.
great, brother. Y'all take care.
Bye.